In 1929, stock markets in New York and London crashed, leading the world into the Great Depression. Millions of people were left unemployed. People depended on soup kitchens and bread lines to feed their families. Children were put to work in factories. You may have heard your grandparents tell you about it. The big question is, could it happen again? Welcome back to Curiosity, and today we're talking about what would happen if the US economy collapsed. With recent inflation, are we headed there? How long would it last? How would we get out of it? We're talking all that and more. First of all, what exactly is a recession? Like so many other words these days, people throw around recession without knowing what it truly is. A recession is a temporary economic decline where trade and industrial activity are reduced. When there is a fall in GDP for 2 consecutive quarters, a recession is underway. The last major recession the United States experienced was between December 2007 to June 2009. This was the longest recession since World War II. By the end, more than 15 million Americans were out of work. This period was known as the Great Recession. There are many who don't know the difference between a recession and a depression. While a recession is a decline in GDP lasting several quarters, the effects of a depression are a lot worse. Depression is more widespread and can last much longer. Take the Great Depression, for example. It lasted from 1929 all the way to 1939 and the outbreak of World War II. So why would we be facing something similar? There are multiple reasons why the US economy is a mess right now. The country's faced a few problems that are all leading to an economic downturn. But it's a little more complex than you might think. Politicians and economists have debated for a while just how likely a recession will be. On one hand, unemployment was at an all-time low as of this summer. There's also some pretty strong job growth. But a number of things like the COVID-19 pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine have contributed to high inflation. Many Americans are paying as much as $5 a gallon at the gas pump. With supply chains disrupted, food and other goods are also running short. This has led many people to believe that a collapsing economy could only make matters worse. On top of all these issues, we have the US Federal Reserve, which holds the responsibility of keeping the economy afloat. It's supposed to be there to regulate the big banks and help the country if any economic issues arise. So what would happen if the US economy collapsed? On the first day, the stock market would collapse. This would happen due to widespread panic over the economy. Countless investors would sell their shares. Billions of dollars from the US economy would be lost, and companies would see their stock value drop. Not only will billionaires like Tim Cook and Elon Musk see large amounts of their net worth go overnight, everyday investors will have their entire fortune go down the toilet. This will lead to even more panic. Within just a few days, other economies around the world will suffer. This means the crisis is slowly moving out of recession and beginning to look more like a depression. There's also the US deficit to keep in mind. This is the amount of money the US government has borrowed from overseas. As of 2022, the United States national debt is $30 trillion. As the US economy continues to decline, the countries it owes money to will panic as well. They may well try to call in their debts, while the US dollar still has some value. If you think this is bad, this is only the first couple of days of the collapse. On the home front, US citizens will begin rushing to the stores and stocking up on whatever supplies they can. Every grocery store around the country will be jam-packed, with customers fighting for every last canned good. Sooner or later, stores will be empty. This will further the food and supply shortage. Desperate times call for desperate measures. This type of widespread panic will likely lead to violence, as people will be fighting tooth and nail for every piece of food they can get. This will also lead people to dig into their life savings, taking out massive withdrawals from banks. In no time, the banks will start running out of cash, turning people away and setting withdrawal limits. At the same time, the decrease in value of the US dollar will cause stock markets around the world to start selling their shares of American companies. During this time, the internet is blowing up. Not only are American citizens furious, the rest of the world is also adding their 2 cents. No pun intended. At this point, word has spread across the globe of the US financial crisis, with people around the world selling shares of whatever American stock they possess. As you could imagine, people are taking to social media with their takes on what is happening. You'll begin seeing tweets from people with no financial background whatsoever, offering advice on what to do. This only adds fuel to the fire. So what does the government do during this time? During this time, the stock market has closed down, as stocks have gone down by roughly 20% since the first day of the collapse. Meanwhile, the US government is scrambling to pass a relief bill, which will be difficult given the fact that Republicans and Democrats won't see eye to eye. Big surprise, right? We've all seen the news. The US Congress couldn't even agree on proper COVID measures. What makes us believe a financial crisis will be any different? The debate on the proper relief bill will be so heated, politicians left and right will be close to throwing blows. Ideally, one of the first things that would happen is the government ordering the Federal Reserve to print more cash. This knee-jerk response will only make inflation worse. The US Congress will also try to raise the debt ceiling, where creditors can support them until the financial crisis ends. Where does China come in? Seems pretty random, right? Not at all. In the event of a financial collapse, China would have the upper hand in a big way. The Republic of China is America's single largest creditor, and has been for some time. The President of the United States would have to go into heavy negotiations with the Chinese government, as they can call in their debt at any time. If the United States economy went into full collapse, the Chinese could potentially take over US companies. This means that the president would have to tread very lightly in an effort to avoid conflict with China. So how do we avoid a financial crisis? To put it simply, we can't. We are technically already in one. While there are steps countries can take to avoid one from happening in the future, economies go through crises all the time. Take a look at the problems we had during the pandemic, with thousands of businesses being forced to close their doors. The thing with that was, actual measures were taken to assist the American people. The CARES Act, a $2 trillion stimulus bill, was passed by the US Congress in March of 2020. While there was still much debate over the effectiveness of this bill, it was surely better than watching a total collapse. Our greatest hope, in the event of a full-on economic meltdown, is for the government to work together to pass a relief bill. But as history has shown us, that's better said than done. The economy is a tricky thing. There are so many moving parts that need to be working in order for our countries to function. Here to learn more? Let's keep your curiosity going with a couple more videos, shall we? Here's what you need to know. Here are 8 secret facts billionaires have hidden from you. Or how about the best places to start fresh when you're broke? Go ahead, click one, or better yet, watch both, and learn more about how the world works around you. Do you worry about a financial collapse? Let us know in the comments below.